G'day legends, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all out there living your best lives as always. And yeah, welcome back to another edition of Show Us Your Tips for round 21 of the 2024 AFL season. Mate, we've got another banging 9 games of footy to get through today. Well, there's a couple of not so good ones, but yeah, look, some pretty tough round of tipping again this week. Feels like we're kind of saying that every week at the moment, right? It is the most even season that I can remember for a very long time. And like I said last week, it sucks that my boys aren't part of it, but look, that's footy. That's just the way it is. Look, we're going to move on from how crap the West Coast Eagles are. I mean, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but look, for now, guys, don't forget the links to the socials downstairs in the description of this video. Get around the X, get around the Insta, get around the eBay store. It's all good stuff there. Now, just on the eBay store side of stuff, guys, what we are going to do, I'm going to organize, well, I'm not going to organize, I'm just going to tell you, 15% discount on singles for subscribers of the channel. All you got to do is send me a DM on eBay, send me a DM on Insta or X or whatever. Probably actually, Insta or eBay. I'm not great at answering DMs on Twitter. But yeah, anyway, send me a DM, quote us, show us your tips, and, you know, let me know that you're a subscriber to the channel, and I'll give you a 15% discount off any of the singles on the eBay store. And what we'll do, we'll actually work it out outside of eBay. That way, I'm not paying eBay fees, you're getting a cheap card. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. So yeah, hit me up if that's something you're interested in. I think that is everything I needed to talk about before we get stuck into the tips. So let's stick it in. All right, legends, kicking things off on Friday night, we have got the Dogs hosting the D's down at Docklands. This should be, well, it's not going to be probably that great a game. The Dogs are really cooking and the D's just seem to be cooked, unfortunately. Look, Dogs should make finals this year pretty easy now, and they're looking threatening. They're sort of, you know, form-wise, they're, you know, top 4. You know, form-wise for Melbourne, not so good. I feel like it's very much a... see you next year for the D's. You know, I feel like they're just kind of done this year. And look, you know, probably some stuff outside of their control. But yeah, look, I think the D's would be looking at 2025 internally. I think we could probably all agree on that. I think maybe if this game was at the MCG, the D's would be a bit more of a shot. But let's be honest, the Dogs play Marvel very bloody well. And I expect that to carry on. This is my lock of the week, by the way. Not that we've ever really done that before, but I just feel like this is a game that the Dogs are just going to come in, march in, and just get the job done. Look... the D's, you know, Gawn's going to be back for his second game now, so, you know, like, maybe he's going to have a bit more touch. I think he was pretty rusty last week, although I will admit, I didn't watch much of the D's game last week at all. I think I caught maybe 10 minutes of it, but it didn't seem like he was having the game of his life. The D's will also be that Caleb Windsor, who might be out for the rest of the year. I don't know. He's had a pretty good start to his career, though, and, you know, has been pretty good on a wing for the D's pretty much all year. Does that mean Lockie Hunter comes back in for, I don't know, what his, like, 3rd game of the year or something like that? So, interesting times at selection for the D's. Obviously, teams aren't out as of recording of this video yet, so this is all just pure speculation. But look, the Dogs have got their own things to worry about as well. They are coming off a 5-day break, so they might want to bring some fresh legs in. I think McRae, Sanders, and Freya all missed last week, so, you know, maybe bringing back a couple of those and, you know, resting some of the more tired, sore guys who are, you know, coming off a pretty good game last week and, like I said, a little bit of travel and a 5-day break, so not ideal. Look, I do think the Dogs are going to get it done here. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think we're going to pick the Dogs by 5 goals. 29 points is good enough. And then we are moving on to our second game on Friday night. Now, you all know by now that I am not a non-enjoyer of Thursday night footy, but a more enjoyer of weekend footy. But I'll tell you what, there is one thing that I dislike more than Thursday night footy, and that is a Friday night doubleheader. That's just dumb. That is just D-U-M dumb. Anyways, look, that's just is. I think it's fucking ridiculous, especially given that they fully overlap. Like, at least play like a Friday twilight and then a Friday. I don't know. It all just sounds silly to me. But anyways, this is actually going to be a pretty interesting game, in my opinion. We have got the away form of the Suns versus the home form of the West Coast Eagles. And look, I mean, look, people seem to think this is going to be a pretty one-sided affair. And to be honest, I don't really disagree that much. Look, West Coast are going to have at least 5 changes this week with Petruccelli and Hutchison missing through suspension. Barras and Luke Edwards are both in concussion protocols. And Zane True's probably going to miss with that neck injury as well. well. Look, we should get Liam Duggan, and hopefully Gov is back as well for this one. So like I said, you know, a lot of change this week for West Coast. Kind of feels like we played our grand final last week, sorry, not gonna lie, but yeah, look, like I said, a lot of changes for West Coast. Look, interesting times last week for the Suns. They finally lost a game at home against the Lions, but to be honest, I feel like this is the week they get their first win away from home against the lowly West Coast Eagles. Look, I thought we were pretty good last week for 2.5 quarters. You know, like, Freo are a very good side, and if we can play the way we played in that first half and in patches in the second half, you know, if we can become more consistent in that, I'm probably more looking to next year now, but that's the next step for us. Look, if we can maintain the rage for a whole game this week, we are definitely a chance to get the job done over the Suns, but I don't know. I don't personally see it happening. I'm going to tip the Suns. I don't think it's going to be like a blowout or anything. I got them by about 2-3 goals, so let's lock them in there by 15 points. I think that seems pretty fair there. And then next we are moving over to the Saturday morning footy. First game of Saturday, we got the battle of the bottom two. Side note, it is crazy that West Coast are not bottom two after the year we've had, to be honest. Look, I think the most interesting thing about this game in particular is the massive implications that it's going to have for the draft order. You know, if Tigers manage to get the job done over North this week, and then North beat West Coast in Tassie either next week or the week after, whenever that is, I mean, hello, pick one for West Coast. I don't really see us beating anyone outside, maybe getting the job, maybe beating North in Tassie, but I just don't see it happening. West Coast have never played Tassie well, and North are playing much better footy than West Coast at the moment. And look, to be honest, North have been playing pretty good footy for the last month, just in general. You know, pushing some higher ranked teams and really, you know, just playing some pretty good footy. Look, Richmond, they haven't really been playing good footy, but I love the spirit they're playing with. I think I touched on this last week in the Show Us Your Tips video as well. Look, if West Coast were playing with the spirit and commitment that Richmond have been playing with all year, you know, we probably would have jagged a few more wins by now. But look, for this game, down at Docklands, you know, again, maybe if it was the MCG, Tigers would be a bit more of a shot. But I got North getting it done here. I don't think, again, it's not out here, but I think it'll be a good close game. It might not be the greatest spectacle of Australian rules football, but it will be a good close game, I think. And look, I'm going to lock the North in by 8 points there in a like I said, a relatively close game. All right, then we're moving on to the next game. On Saturday, we got the Cats hosting the Crows down at GMHBA Stadium. I assume this one is going to be relatively straightforward, right? Cats have won their last have won 4 of their last 5 against the Crows. They've got a relatively healthy list. They are going to be missing their backup ruckman in Gary Rowan through concussion, unfortunately. How crazy was that, where Gary Rowan actually won hit-outs against Tim English the other week? Crazy. All right, the Crows should also get some players back with Jordan Dawson should be back, and they could also get Nick Murray back after what looked like a pretty serious knee injury. But apparently he's made quite the speedy recovery, and we'll just need to pass a fitness test this week to line up on Saturday. Josh Worrell and maybe even Matt Crouch could be back for the Crows as well. Personally, I think Matt Crouch should come back through the Sandful, and this will give young Dan Curtin, you know, maybe a bit more opportunity before Crouch comes back. I mean, I don't think the Crows are pushing for finals. I think they should really be, you know, not as much of a basket case as West Coast, but they should really be using these last 4 games to, you know, see what they've got there in the youth department and, you know, trying to really work out their best 22 for round 1 next year. Look, who knows? Who knows? But I think the Cats should just be a bit too classy for the Crows this time. They've been better the last few weeks, don't get me wrong, especially at home. But I think the Cats get the job done here, especially down at GMHBA, by about 4 or 5 goals. 26 points seems about right to me. All right, moving on to our first game on Saturday night now. And we've got an old Melbourne rivalry in the Pies versus Carlton at the MCG. Look, hoping for a packed house. This should be a massive game ratings-wise and attendance-wise. Look, Scott Pendleby's 400th game, which is a huge achievement, really, when you think about it. I mean, I remember going back maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and people said that no one was ever going to beat Kevin Bartlett's record of 424 games, I want to say. And since then, we've had Boomer Harvey, we've had Silk Burgoyne, and now we've got Scott Pendlebury all cracking the 400. It seemed like something that was never going to be done a little while ago, but you know, What do we got? We got Burgoyne, we got Harvey, we got Pendlebury. What's the one thing they all have in common? Very little travel time, first class or not. Just saying. Look, Carlton need to win. Carlton really need to win this game here. They just have to. They really need to solidify their spot in the top 4. And look, you know, they should get some players back this week as well. I think Harry McKay should be back, and Blake Acres should be back. And that'll help. Pies will get one back too. I think Jordan De Goe is going to be playing again this week as well. But it just feels like so many teams up the top of the ladder are starting to choke at the moment, with the exception of probably Brisbane. You know, Sydney have lost 4 of their last 5. We'll get to them later. Carlton have lost a couple in their last few. I don't know. I feel like no one wants to finish in the top 4 this year except the Lions. But look, I'm going to go with the Blues here. I think that's the sensible thing to do. There's no point being contrarian for the sake of it. 3-goal win to the Blues seems about right to me. And then we're moving on to another game, which should be an absolute belter on Saturday night, where we've got Port hosting the Swans down at Adelaide Oval. Like I said, super interesting game, this one. Swans are looking shaky. A bit like Carlton, to be honest. But look, Port are also finding some form. They had that, you know, they had that sort of mid-season form slump, sort of around the buys and just after. But they have won 4 of their last 5, and are looking pretty good. You know, I don't think anyone could argue with that. Port are a genuine chance to win this at home as well. Should be regaining Todd Marshall if he passes a fitness test this week, which will make things a little bit easy for old Charlie Dixon. And look, the Swans need to get it together. This is the side that everyone was saying it's Swans, then it's the length of the Nullarbor, then it's, you know, maybe 3 or 4 teams. But they have only beaten North in their last 5. And look, the premiership race is on. It's wide open. It's probably the most open it's been this year. Maybe since the first couple of weeks when no one really knew what was going on. But yeah, I don't know. Swans are good enough to get it done here, but are they going to perform well enough? You know, I was listening to the Hard Ball Gets with a podcast with Ryan Daniels and Zave, and you know, one thing they spoke about on that was you know, the Swans forward line. It's really not very good, and you know, I think the win-loss sort of ratio kind of papered over how not so good the Swans forward line is. I mean, you know, Amadi's kicked 35 goals, but he did get 9 of those in one game. Logan McDonald's kicked 24 goals for the year. That's 1.5 a game. You know, a lot of their goals are coming from the midfield. So it kind of feels like, you know, if you can break even with the midfield against Sydney, you might win the game. You're probably going to win the game. And to be honest, that's what I think might happen here. I think Port are going to win. I really do. I've been up and down on Port. I'm not going to say I've rated Port all year. I have been up and down on them all year, but I'm up on them at the moment, and I think they're going to get it done in a very close game. You know, for the home fans to solidify their spot in the top 8, I think they've got a lot on the line. Not to say that Sydney don't have a lot on the line as well. And maybe this is just all feeling, no fact, and this is just a bit of that gut feel, but I just got a feeling. So I'm going to tip Port by 8 points. 8 points is good enough. It's close enough to 9. All right. Moving on to Sunday morning footy now, and we got another game which should be an absolute ripper. We got the Giants hosting the Hawks in Canberra. 2 of the most informed teams going around. I think they're both 4 from their last 5 or something close to that. Look, again, both coaches going to really struggle to make changes to 2 pretty informed lineups. So, not sure what's going to happen on selection night tomorrow. Look, I am leaning towards the Giants just because it is a Canberra. And I know it's not a home game for them, but, you know, Canberra is, you know, much more home to the Giants than it is for the Hawks, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a big test for a young side in Hawthorn. I did say that last week, and they won. But I think this is another big test for them. Look, it's not going to be snowing like it did a few years ago when these guys played each other up in Canberra, but it is going to be very cold. Look, genuine 50-50 here on this one. I feel like I'm going to go with Hawks. I just think, you know, they've got some, not to say the Giants don't have momentum, but I don't know, I think the vibe around Hawthorn at the moment is very positive, and yeah, look, going to be super interesting. I've got the Hawks in, 3 or 4 points, 5 points, good enough. All right, so look, moving on to a game that might not be as close as the last couple. We've got the Bombers and the Dockers at the MCG, and I swear to God, ever since I conceded, ever since I said the Bombers were good, ever since I said I was wrong about the Bombers, they've proven me wrong again. I was right. The Bombers are dog shit. Sorry, Essendon fans. Your team sucks, and that's coming from a West Coast fan. My team sucks too. Don't get me wrong. I understand. However, we were supposed to suck this year. You guys were making top 4 3 weeks ago. It's crazy. Anyways, look, Freo on the other hand, very good. I was lucky enough, or well, unlucky enough from a West Coast point of view to watch them live last week. I actually went to the Derby, and look, in between trying to drown my sorrows with paper cups full of mid-strength, they looked very good, especially in that third quarter when Josh Tracy went absolutely nuts. Man, he is so good at football. Look, love watching him go about it. The Dockers will be without Nat Fyfe this week, but to be honest, I actually don't think that matters. And I would love to hear Freo fans' thoughts on this, because I don't think Fyfe is in your best 22. I mean, I don't know. Finals footy, maybe another big hard body in there, but I don't know, man. I kind of feel like Fyfe is a bit of a liability with ball in hand. I know this isn't new. I know this isn't a new argument, but I feel like he just can't kick anymore. Like, he used to just be able to not kick for goal. Now he can't field kick anymore, and he doesn't want to kick. And I feel like he's getting caught sometimes because he doesn't want to kick and he's trying to find someone to handball to. I don't know. Freo fans, hit me up in the comments. Honestly, I want to know, what do you guys think is Nat Fyfe's position in the team at the moment? Look, I know he's the leader. He's the captain of the club. Maybe having him on field for the leadership is the sole reason he's in there. But I don't know. I think Erasmus or what's his name? Matthew Johnson, sorry. Maybe should be getting a gig instead of Fyfe. I don't know. Just my opinion. But look, I think this is a pretty simple game. If we're looking at just this one game, Freo actually played the MCG very well. Obviously, identical dimensions to Optus Stadium. And they've taken some big scouts at the G in this last sort of 3-year, pushing towards finals and whatnot. So I don't think the G actually holds any negative feelings for the Dockers. And I think they're going to get the job done here pretty easily. I've got them by about 4 or 5 goals. Let's lock them in. 27 points sounds good to me. And then we're going to close the round out with what is probably going to be the most boring game of the round. I know that Saints have had a couple of big wins this year. I know they pulled an upset over Sydney not that long ago, and they beat someone last week. I can't even remember who. Was it Essendon? Well, they didn't really beat someone then, did they? Look, the Saints are not that great. The Lions are very, very good. This is going to be a pretty dull one to watch, I would have thought. And also, like I said, the result is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm looking in the Lions here by 36 points. I do also think that the Saints will spoil some of the party for some other teams leading into these last few weeks before finals. However, it's not Brisbane. I'm sorry. The Lions are very good. Look, I haven't looked ahead too much at the fixtures, but I don't think Lions are going to lose too many for the rest of the year. I think they need to lose one before finals just to remember what losing feels like. They've been on a bit of a tear lately, but yeah, I definitely don't think it's going to be this week. And Lions by 6 goals. All right, that sums us up for this week, guys. We have gone with the Dogs to get it done over the Ds relatively easily. The Suns in a scrappy one against the Eagles at Optus. North to get it done over the Tigers by a certain amount, but I think it's going to be pretty close. Cats to beat Adelaide by about 4 or 5 goals. The Blues to win the Collingwood matchup. Port in a close one at home over Sydney by a few points. Hawks again in another close one. Freo to get the job done over the Bombers, and Lions just to do what they have to do to keep their September campaign rolling on over the Saints. All right, guys, that's it for me for a week. Don't forget, if you're liking the content, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It's a good time. And yeah, don't forget discounts on the eBay store for singles for members of the channel. Sorry, for subscribers of the channel. Just quote us in a DM on eBay or on Insta. Show us your tips and tell me the card you want, and we'll work it out outside of eBay. It's better for everyone that way. It is absolutely better for everyone that way. I am going to try and get another video up this week. I think I'm going to have one more crack at the Brownlow boxes. I've got, I still need a Benny Cousins, and I'm not really willing to pay $450 to $500 for one at the moment. So I'm going to have another crack at that. We're going to open one more box of Brownlow. And also, I was going through my storeroom the other day, and I did find a box of 2023 AFL Supremacy. I'm going to say I found it like I didn't know it was there. I knew it was there. I went in there to get it. But look, I was thinking about listing it on the eBay, but I thought, you know what, bugger it. Let's just have a go. And I feel like no one's really buying sealed boxes of Supremacy Rookie anyway anymore because, it's such a like a 6-week cycle in footy cards. No one cares about sets that were, 2 sets ago. But anyways, look, yeah, we might even have a gamble with that one as well. Hopefully we can pull ourselves a nice Will Ashcroft, a nice Harry Sheasel, number to 25. Who knows? But I'm a rambling, gambling man, and we're going to have a crack at it next week. So, or sorry, maybe later this week. So, yeah, look, keep your eyes on your YouTube feed for that one, guys. And that is going to do it for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.